What's up and what's happening, TPE fam? We're back with another episode. This episode features a very special guest. This individual was my first client when we opened up our consulting and analytics business way back in 2016. Since then, we have been friends. We've shared professional interests, and it's just a great guy all the way around. He's a husband, he's a father. Now he manages a multi-unit business here in our city. I'm talking about none other than Rory Prince. I am extremely excited to bring his commentary to our show. I am looking forward to the information that he's going to share with you guys, and I just can't wait for y'all to enjoy and be enriched by this information. Let's dive in.
Take this mind of mine.
What's up, TPE family? We have a very special episode today. This is our first in-studio guest. This individual is somebody who I've known close to 8 years now. If I would be honest and transparent, this is one of the first individuals who I probably signed any business contract with. This individual gave me the first opportunity to be a part of their business in some analytical capacity, offer some social media management, and this gentleman got a chance to see some of our first graphics. I can't say enough kind words about just who he is as a man. Who he is. I've observed him, who he is as a father, as a husband, the way he conducts himself around other people, the way he conducts business, who he is as a leader, just makes him fitting to be our next guest on the TPE. And I'm talking about none other than the incomparable Rory Prince. Rory Prince, introduce yourself to the folks.
Hello, TPE fans. That was an extraordinary welcome. I was waiting for someone else to come through the door because I don't think that's me. But anyway, yes, I've known Alex, and I've been an admirer of him for a while. For such a young man, he was aggressive and trying to pursue his endeavors and stuff at a very young age. And it was my pleasure to participate with him in any way that I can. So it was my pleasure.
Yeah, man. And so for those of you who don't know, Rory is a entrepreneur. He kind of started doing a bunch of different things, man, and he can probably tell his story a whole lot better than I can. And so I guess the first thing that I've got, just what I want to know and what our audience wants to know is, how did you get your start, man? How did Rory become the man that he is right now?
Well, it started with a high school friend, a really good friend. We're still friends to this day, a gentleman named Tim Hendon. Tim Hendon got into business at an early age of 19 years old. He had extraordinary discipline and very wise, and he got his wisdom from his mother. Me and my brother partnered up, and just like many people, our parents got our financial backing, came straight from their wallets, and that's how we got started back in around 1987.
And exactly, what did you get started doing? What is that?
Oh, a car wash. Got into the car wash business. Tim invited me to be his manager. Once he got the business from his family, he invited me to be the manager, and that's where I started as a manager. And after a short period of time, after 4 years of working with Tim was ready to move on to a bigger pivot, move to a bigger level of car washing. And he asked me if I was interested in owning my own business, and of course I was. And I was a young man, and I still wasn't quite polished, so my mom said, "Look, you need an anchor, so your brother's going to join you."
Yeah.
So that's how it got going. Shout out to my brother Randy Jude.
Yeah, man. I guess a lot of times opportunities kind of fall in our laps, and we don't really realize the magnitude of it. Maybe at that time, I guess, if you was to peel back the onion a little bit, talk about, and I know this is kind of off script, I apologize for that, okay. But did you imagine yourself when you were growing up owning a car wash? Was that a part of the plans for Rory?
Not at all. Not at all. I had dreams and aspirations and stuff, and that wasn't in the plans. It just happened. Again, like I said, my friend Tim Hendon invited me to come work with him, and that's how it happened. What's interesting is how, and I'm glad you talked about this. What's interesting is how valuable the car wash industry has become. There is a lot of private equity money, tons, multi millions of dollars of private equity going into the industry today. They are building car washes faster than we can blink our eyes. So, it's not, I don't think a lot of people looked at it as an industry that's sexy, but it makes money.
Yeah, no, and I definitely would say I would agree that I didn't realize how lucrative the car wash business is until I start seeing them pop up on almost every other corner, and I'm starting to see that, okay, well, maybe there's a little change in that industry. So no, that's interesting for you to bring that up. Appreciate that. Now, what currently drives Rory? What makes Rory tick? What gets Rory out of bed every day?
Serving other people. I enjoy serving people. That's it. Serving people, whether it's my employees or my customers. Customers are up there. It's one. They're 1A and our employees are 1B. But serving people, I just enjoy serving people.
Now, can you break down? I guess when you say serving people, can you elaborate a little bit more on that? What about serving people that brings you joy? Or could you provide an example of where you provided high-level service and you walked away with a lot of gratitude for that experience?
With the customer, it's just making sure that the value that we provide is above their expectation. That's the main thing for me, is that the customer at the end of the process is just elated and they're smiling. When it comes to the employee and serving the employee, I'm trying to bring out the best in those individuals and stuff, but just trying to help them become the best version of themselves. So that's, serving my employees as well as serving the customer base.
Awesome. Now I would imagine that this next question kind of plays into that joy of servitude, and what are your core values? What are the core tenets that make up Rory?
It's not very many. I just want to be ethical. I want to make sure that there's integrity behind the things that I do, that I say, that it's ethical and it's honest and true. I think if you lead your day like that and exercise those small things in your choices, because they're going to cross your path all day long. Should I do this? Should I do that? And if it's ethical and honest, then you should. If it's not, you probably should take a pause and rethink it.
No, excellent. And so, can you think of times where you felt like that level of integrity was tested the most, and where you felt like it might be on a daily basis, huh? Right. So when you just let's ponder on, like, maybe an example where, man, it's a no-brainer, where your ethics kick in and we're clear cut, what we're going to do and what we're not going to do. And then describe an instance where it was difficult. You had to come to a difficult decision, but your ethics was the foundation of that decision.
Man, you put me on the spot. Who's watching this, man?
Let me say this. I want to make sure, be comfortable, man.
Yeah.
We're friends. We're good here. And I want the people who are going to watch this to understand the wealth of knowledge that you have as an individual. Yeah. Me and you have spent hours talking about business, life, friendship, and I value your opinion. I value your knowledge. I value what you bring to the table. I wouldn't have probably asked for you to even be a part of this if I didn't. But I sincerely mean that. So when I know I'm asking you some questions that are a little off script, but
I'll tell you an example that turned into something that I wasn't expecting, and the story doesn't end well, but it did. I and another employee failed to clock out. Okay, and I keep track of my time. So I and another employee failed to clock out, and it's important to me that the employee get paid for every second. Okay, so I go to the camera footage, and I look at the time that we exit the building, and I made sure that that person received all their compensation. That's one example. I mean, some people will just guess, well, it was around 6. You know, if it's 6:01, I want you to get 6:01. Well, when reviewing that tape, I noticed some things that were not supposed to happen. There was money going into places that it wasn't supposed to go. So that was an example. I believe that the Holy Spirit and God said, you know, your ethics and you're wanting to make sure that no one is cheated. You found someone that was cheating you, you know, and that was an extraordinary event, you know, and there's been more encounters like that. It's so, you know, I just want to make sure that everyone's compensated and treated well and up to the, you know, the millisecond of their compensation.
And, you know, and I think the crazy thing about you bringing up that example, you know, I just was talking to a teammate of mine earlier today. We were talking about when you're a good person or you're a person who try to do the right things, more things come to you that are good or things that are revealed to you. And it sounds like to me, you just exercising your normal will to be a great person kind of put you in a position to be able to see, oh, well, that ain't right. I was looking for one thing, and then I came up on something else. So no, and that just kind of goes to show you, like, in your well doing, you know, you shouldn't be weary because you never know what you'll come up on. No, that's awesome.
Absolutely, and if I can piggyback off of that,
absolutely,
great opportunities come off of that. I had an example just the other day that I made it important again that this customer was completely satisfied with the product and things, and then they started inquiring because I made them part of my process. Like, let me know. I'm going to keep in touch with you and let me know if these adjustments that I'm making to the equipment and stuff is doing better or worse. And that person kept keeping me involved, and I kept them involved. But it ended up where the person wanted to give me a job. You know, they asked me, well, what do you do? You know, and how much do they pay you? And you know, what's your bonus structure? So that's when you are trying to help people and you take it that extra mile, the doors will open for you.
Yeah, and I think I apologize here again. I think you stumbled into another subject that may not be exactly on our docket here. You brought up you soliciting or you asking for the customer to be a part of your process. And to me, that sounds like you have high value for feedback. Right. Feedback is a huge part of what you do, what it sounds like based on some of the things that you're saying right now. And would you like to, if you don't mind, offer some insight on your view on feedback and how integral it is to your processes?
You know, as we get older, and as you can see by our pictures, I'm a little bit older than now. It's by a day or two. But as you get older and you mature, you realize that feedback is very important. Whether it's from a family member, whether it's from a spouse, whether it's from a child, whether it's from, you know, you just realize that this feedback is very important. And when we're younger, we think tell me any 15 or 16-year-old that don't think they know everything already, and they don't want to hear it. But as you mature and you get wisdom, you realize that everything people are sharing with you, they're trying to help you. In most cases, people are trying to help you become a better you. So I listen, you know, I listen a lot, and I'm like, I don't take things that people are telling me lightly, you know, whether it's professionally or whether it's about life and what I can improve on. I think it's just really important to listen to other people.
Yeah, and I think that in some aspects, when you are incorporating feedback into what you do, and then you're passionate about hearing that, those things strengthen your core values. You know, your integrity is stronger because you're taking in the wisdom of someone else about something that you do, maybe a blind spot that you might have or something that you're not noticing. You taking that in is helping build up what those other core values are. You know, I'm a believer, like, everything kind of plays off of each other, you know, and for the good, right? Everything that we kind of come across is incorporated into my life to help me be better. And so you taking that feedback in, I think definitely is something that I've witnessed firsthand. You know, I've seen you very sincerely and passionately ask a customer, "Hey, how was your wash?" And you mean it. And it's not. It's not like you're just checking off. Let me check this out. I asked 10 people today how was their wash. I see, and my wife, in your current capacity right now at the wash, my wife, she knows, like, hey, if I'm at the vacuums a little longer than normal, Rory's gonna come around and actually make sure everything's okay. And I think, to me, that's, again, speaks to who you are as an individual and how much you care about what you do and how much you pour into what it is that you do. So any more on your core values?
I want to add something.
Let's go.
Another feedback. We have a phenomenal employee named Wyatt Kibido. He is phenomenal young man. Still in high school, and his dad is a very good customer, and his name is Chris Kibido. And Chris came in one day and he said, "You know what, Rory?" He says, "There's one little detail that differentiates the competition from you." And he says, "It's their vacuums." He says that they always work. And so that feedback told me, and it made me create a system. We're checking our vacuums every morning, and we should check it several times a day. But I make sure, and I asked Chris the other day, after several weeks, I wanted his feedback. "Hey, Chris, how's our vacuums?" He said, "Man, they're great. They're great." The interesting thing about this vacuums, and most people don't care, but some engineer created this really cool vacuum nozzle that doesn't allow things to travel far. What we were having to do is climb up on ladders and unclog hoses all the time, especially during COVID. The height of COVID, everybody had these masks, and people were sucking up these masks. Well, the interesting thing about this new adaptation to these vacuum nozzles is it doesn't take but a nickel and a bubblegum wrapper to clog them up. Now, the clog doesn't travel, way up the line and cause a big problem, but it does happen more frequently. So that was just one feedback from a customer that has helped us become better, because I'm blessed to be at the best car wash, the one on 105, and I'm plugging it. It's a Highway 105 right in front of Ritter. I've worked at several car washes. I've worked at several high-volume car washes throughout my career, and this is the absolute best cleaning car wash that I've ever, and I'm not kidding, it's the best ever that I've ever experienced.
I want to sit right here for a second and ask you this question. How long have you been washing cars?
That's a funny question.
Just roughly.
Oh, I know how long. It's been 40 years.
40 years. And so Mr. Chris says to you, experience 40 years. If somebody doesn't know the viscosity of the soap, the temperature of the water, the how rough or soft the bristle should be, you are the expert when it comes down to and I'm gonna get into a point here, and I think it kind of speaks to your character. Yeah. Somebody who has so much experience still has the willingness to say, what can we do better? You would imagine that you can rest on the fact that you know exactly what you're doing. I don't need feedback. I don't need no, seriously.
I know.
I don't need. I know, if I were to be transparent, sometimes I think that's some of my own faults as a young manager or leader in what I do at Chick-fil-A. It's like, I've been doing this for 20 years. What are you saying? What do you? I get it. You know what I mean? But I think sometimes just hearing you say that helps me to understand that, and I know this already, but it just kind of reinforces, like, hey, you can learn from anybody, any point in time. No matter how much experience you have, no matter how much knowledge you might have in the area, there's still something to learn. And we talk about leadership as a never-ending journey. You have checkpoints along the way, but you never get to an ending point. And so, you bringing up that story kind of illustrates like the larger thought of, like, hey, I can still learn from from anybody, whether that's the customer who's been coming every day for 20 years, or the person that this is the first time they've rolled up on the wash. They still have value and they still have things to add to, right?
Yes, I think you just touched on something that brought up something to me. There's a well-known company that I'm not going to mention their name. I'm not, but one of the most powerful companies and has some of the smartest people on the planet employed. But the problem with the leadership is they will not listen. The person, it's a he, will not listen to all these smart people. And that's your downfall when you think you know it all and your way the highway, because there's so much competition. That's why I have to keep trying to improve, because there's so much competition. Like I said earlier, private equity is building car washes like it's going out of style. And there's so much competition. When I got started in the car wash industry, there were one little hand wash in Port Arthur, Texas, and we dominated the market. And then my friend partnered up with somebody, and they had a total of 6 car washes in the whole Golden Triangle. So if you were going to a car wash that wasn't a bucket and water hose, you were going to an actual established professional car wash, there was only about 6 options, and they were all named Magic. Today in the Golden Triangle, we're probably getting closer to 20 in the same demographic, in the same population. You know, it's not like the Golden Triangle has exploded to 5, 10, 15 million people. It's still the same small population. It blows my mind that Lumberton, Texas, 13,000, has 3 car washes within a half a mile of each other.
A snap.
2 of them are across the street from each other. So you have to be on your game. People have a lot of choices. It's not a privilege that they come to you. You're not a privilege to them. It is an honor to serve them.
Yeah, no, man, no, that's rich, man. And you're absolutely right. It's just, I think some of the greatest companies, when they fail to take in feedback, that limits their opportunity to keep it fresh and to reinvent. And, you know, we've seen some massive companies, you know, in their, 10, 20 years ago that were at the top of their industry, but they failed to hear the feedback of what's coming, and then they're no longer existing. So no, that's real good. All right, so hear me out. We talked about your core values. We talked about what drives Rory. What are some of your professional priorities? When it comes down to day in, day out. I know I've heard some of your, the integrity piece. Just where your morals lie, but on just operationally, how do you prioritize your day? What are the things that you're looking at? And it could be specific to the wash, or it could be just on a broader scale.
Well, I want to make sure first and foremost that everything is functioning on an optimum level. That's the way I look at it. It's you can do things that'll get by. Sometimes when it comes to cost cutting and stuff, we try to, that'll work. 2 people will work. Maybe even 1 person in that position will work. And you get short-term gratification when you have, when everything's bottom line driven. It's like, I can cut this cost, but in the long term, you have sustainability, and that's why I look for optimum performance. Are we present in front of the customers? One of the things that I share with my team is I call it the Home Depot. Okay, when I go into Home Depot and I'm going for a specific item, I want to see someone in orange. Chick-fil-A doesn't have that problem. They got those red people everywhere. I love it, man. I love it. So I want to make sure that from the start to the finish, and that's, are our people in the right places? Or is our equipment positioned where they can take the fewest steps to exercise the task that they need to exercise? Is that very, very, very expensive tunnel that I hear about, is it functioning properly? And then at the end, that little simple thing is the vacuum working right? So I look for trying to get things optimal. Honestly, you have to understand that everything can't be perfect. I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I'll tell you right now, that'll cause more gray hair, as you can see. But trying to be optimal as you can, so when things don't go right, that you're there. The customer doesn't realize the hiccup. So I try to make sure that everything is taken care of. We've done our maintenance. We've checked and inspected our tools and our systems, that they're working. So I would say optimization is what I live for and strive for in a day to day.
Well, awesome. And so I think that's an incredible first step, in terms of making sure that you can't wash a car if the equipment's not working right. You can't do your primary function if everything. And I think you said something that interests me, that I think over the last maybe 10 years, us as an organization, Chick-fil-A, had been trying to establish, like, how many steps does a team member take performing a task, especially when you have such repetitive tasks that you're doing over and over and, several times throughout the day, 311 days. That's how many business days we have, 311 days throughout the year. How, 10 steps might not sound like a big deal in an isolated situation, but 10 steps times 100 times 311 times 10 years, that's a bunch if it involves you moving a piece of equipment or a shelf from one place to another to make it more convenient. So no, that's awesome. That's very good.
Can I tell my Chick-fil-A story?
You go for it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can.
Many years ago, and this actually got an article. One article that I wrote published in a car wash little online, I want to call it a magazine, but it was online. It's because I went to Chick-fil-A in Houston every day at lunch. Every single day. I mean, every day at lunch.
You go to Chick-fil-A every day now. Just about.
But anyway, here's where they were innovating way back then, and I'm talking around 2008, 2007. I noticed when I pulled up to this Chick-fil-A that the people outside, the greeters, they had pencil and paper. Seriously, no iPads, nothing like that. They had pencil and paper. And so at first I was thinking, man, there must be something wrong with the comm units. Why am I not driving up to the intercom and they saying, hey, welcome to Chick-fil-A. How would you like your order? We know your order, Rory. But hey, how would you like your order? And so they started out with paper and stuff in the drive so that they could get that order quicker. That was just, and I took that back. Those things, I took back that experience and added it to where I was working in Kirby at that time. Is trying how to innovate even simple things that look like, hey, the comm unit's down. But I noticed after going there a week, certainly this multi-millionaire or multi-million-dollar organization, probably billion at that time, was not down. It was just innovating. And it started with pen and paper, and it was so cool to watch. So, yeah, I've been a fan of Chick-fil-A. I've watched the innovations, and I love it. One last thing. What blows me away about them, and I try to model it, is how much fun people are having. I'm like, I never went inside. I always went through the drive-thru. Okay, I always went through the drive-thru. So I expected when I went inside to see this very regiment, tense, military look of organization. And when I went inside, and I saw this the other day too, I was like, all these happy people, and they're having a good time, but they're executing at the highest level. The consistency, like Alex said, of the timeline, you can always go there, and no matter how far the line is, you're going to get it out there quick. But yeah, I want to be more like Chick-fil-A.
I guess to just elaborate on the paper and pencil thing, I remember when we started doing that. And let me add to that, I remember when they were shipping out flip cell phones, because we used to have to call those orders in from outside to the inside. It wasn't as near as fancy as it is now. Shout out to innovation. Shout out to the hearing feedback and continuing to evolve, right? But no, I definitely remember that. And I think, to that point of it being fun, I think that's just our secret sauce, man. I tell people, like, there's no way we can keep up this level of volume and keep people and the environment not be fun. Like we would not have the retention that we have if we didn't have those elements in our business. So very thankful to work for a company that promotes that. And I think, to me, beyond us as a company, I do think individuals like yourself embody those things already.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? I think, I think for you it's almost just a reiteration of, oh, I'm okay, I'm on the right track here, because this company is doing what I feel is the right thing to do as a person.
Can I say this?
Yes, sir.
I'm competitive. Okay. So if I see you doing it, I'm like, I can do it too.
Yeah.
And now, the car wash industry used to have a certain demographic of employee, and it was typically someone that had been down and out, and this was their last opportunity. And I enjoyed that time. I hired people that no one else would hire, gave them opportunity, and they grew from it. Some of my people that worked for me as their first job after coming out of prison, I'll say, are now doing great things. But the demographics of our employees have changed. We go into that Chick-fil-A young and good looking and stuff, but man, them young good lookings have attitude, So I have stole that. How do I make it fun for them? I got a high standard of that I want them to perform at. But if I let them enjoy themselves at it, and I saw this with another local businessman. Shout out to P&M. Okay, they were our competition. Mm-hmm. But I went to his location I went over there to see him, and I expected to see that regiment again, because they were a nationally ranked lube shop, nationally ranked. High in the top 5%, maybe top 1% in Beaumont, Texas, blowing up. And so I went there and I saw the guys playing football, or popping fireworks or something. They were probably on one occasion football, the other occasion. And I said, Paul, so your guys playing football. He said, Rory, I let them have fun. He said, I'll let them have fun because they work hard. He said they work hard. They know when it's time to get serious, and so that touched on me. I said, hey man, it's okay to have fun at work. It's better to have fun at work. You probably live longer if you have fun at work.
Yeah, no.
So people have fun at work.
Yeah, and I think you have segued perfectly into the next question. How do you get people to buy into you? You just set up the picture. You mentioned earlier that you might be a day or two older than me. You just mentioned that your current workforce demographic is maybe a day or two younger than me. and you mentioned that it's difficult to make that connection. It's difficult to and I'm experiencing it now. And my gap isn't as wide necessarily. No offense. Isn't that as wide? But it's tough. I find myself, my priorities and value set don't exactly align. I'm married. I got 3 children. A lot of this. The 16-year-old or the 17-year-old, they don't have the same outlook as me and you might have. So how do you get people to buy into you? As a leader.
Well, that's the thing. It's not about me. I make it about them. It's about them. It's about you. It's about how you can grow. It's about how you can prosper. The business is going to prosper if we got people that are focused on prosperity, and they understand compensation comes with execution. That customer is our primary concern. Okay. And so how do I get you to focus on taking care of that customer? When I said the reward is you're going to get compensated more, and they like that. I ask them all the time. I say, are you happy? How many of you are happy with how much money you make today? Or a better question is, how many of you want to make more? Everybody in the room raises their hand. I want to make more. And I say, well, this is how we do it. We make the company more prosperous, but by you will become more prosperous. I focus on them becoming more prosperous, and these are the steps to doing it. So it's not about me. I get the overflow. They always talk about a cup of coffee, and if you keep pouring, that coffee will be on the saucer. If I could get what's in the saucer, get that overflow. And so that's what I do. I make it about them and how they can prosper. And I take the best of the best I take care of. I try to take care of everyone, but I make sure the best of the best. You need a day off? Got it. You want to spend this weekend? You know, we're gonna miss you. We're gonna miss you. This is high. I learned that from a friend of mine, a good friend, a great operator, Ron Pickett. When I went to work for Ron Pickett, he allowed me to go watch my daughter play soccer on a Saturday during the peak hours. Who does that? Who allows the key person on the lot that handles all the problem solving to go away 3 hours during that time? Well, that's how he kept me interested in staying an employee, because most people won't do that. That you'll take less compensation for more to enjoy your life more. And so that's what I do for my guys and my women, is that, okay, what's their hot button? What do you like to do? If you will work at this standard, this level, I will definitely make sure that you get to enjoy those things in life that you love to enjoy. And so therefore we have a great relationship. They loving me and I'm loving them, and the customers loving all of us.
Right, man. No, and I'm gonna butcher this, and I think Zig Ziglar says that if you help enough people get what they want, they will help you get what you want.
Absolutely.
And so I think, in essence, that's exactly, I always talk, at work, I say, if we focus on helping the person get better, if we focus on the person,
absolutely,
in turn, they can't help but to be a better Chick-fil-A employee. Like, and so for me, and I always try to talk to our leadership teams, like, hey, let's focus. I mean, I understand we have the expectation, and that crown is where it's at, and not just for the sake of us, but for the sake of the brand nationally.
Yeah.
There's a national reputation, a multi-billion-dollar reputation that we are entrusted with. I got that. But if you're not in the right frame of mind, if you're distraught because you wanted to go watch your daughter play soccer, you as a man, as a father, want to be there for your daughter, and in your job saying, you can't exactly do that. I think that's tough. Now there has to be compromise, right? Me as the employer have to maybe kind of teach you, say, okay, hey, I can let you do this, but you can maybe not be able to do everything, but we'll try to make, what's important to you, what's the most important to you. We'll try to kind of, meet in the middle there. So no, that's excellent, Rory.
Can I tell us
Oh
funny,
yeah, go for it.
It reminded me, I have a lot of.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. I think you're getting comfortable now, Rory. At first, I could tell you was a little tense. Now I feel like you're comfortable now.
This is a funny story. When myself and Mr. Ron, got along very, very well.
Okay.
And the only time that we didn't, this is funny. This is really funny. Funny now, is that I always was able to go to my daughter's soccer game, but we had something else that he did for our employees that I don't know anyone else that does it, is we celebrate their birthday. When do we celebrate their birthday? In the peak of business on Saturday. I mean, we catered. We had carte blanche on how much to spend. We spent back then, and this was back then, we spent $200-300 on getting stuff from Papa Seafood or whatever that person wanted to eat. We would get it, and we would get birthday cakes, and the Pickets would come by and run the store while all the employees went inside and celebrated this birthday. So let me back up to this day. So it's my birthday, and I talked to the employees, and they said, yeah, Rory, we could postpone the party till about 1 o'clock because Zuri's got a game at 11 or 10. I was like, okay, cool, let's do that. So I'm in the car, and I'm driving on my way to the soccer game. I get a phone call. And who is it? It's Ron. And he goes, hey, do you know what day it is? Yeah, it's my birthday. He says, and we were punctual. He says, you know what we do at noon on birthdays? Yeah, we throw a party. And he says, well, where are you? And I'm like, I'm on my way to my daughter's soccer game. You know, that agreement we had. Mm-hmm. He goes, Rory, it's not about you. He had to bring me down to earth. It was like, what do you mean it's not about me? It's my birthday. He said, Rory, it's about your team. He said, make a choice. You know what the Lord did? He made it impossible for me to find that soccer field. I'm not kidding. I was driving, looking for the soccer field, got lost, and said, okay, I'm going back to my party. Because it's not about me. I just think that's hilarious. And, of course, I love Ron Pickett to death. I love his wife, Judy, to death. And they were very valuable and instrumental in teaching me values like that, how to appreciate your employees on another level than most people that I've worked for.
I would say that's an extraordinary story, and it speaks well to the Picketts. I mean, I don't know who those individuals are, but
pioneers in the car wash.
Wow,
industry.
and I apologize for not knowing. Maybe I should did my homework a little bit.
Can I say some more about them?
Absolutely.
The Picketts were such pioneers. There are people. If you go to the Car Wash magazine and you open it up, there is a brand called Tommy. Actually, the brand is AVW. I'm giving you a plug, Willie. AVW, Auto Vehicle Wash. Very, very good company. Very good company. Willie Vidakovich. And they started a signature series of car washes. You cannot open a car wash magazine, publication, or anything. Now it's probably internet without seeing Tommy Wash. Mr. Pickett had such networks and influence that these guys were helping us. One night, we tore out the whole conveyor. I don't know. That would be like tearing out your whole kitchen at a Chick-fil-A. Okay, tear out the whole kitchen and overnight put in a brand new one. And you didn't hire a bunch of people to come do it. These icons in the car wash industry were such good friends of yours. They came and helped you do it.
Wow.
Now, the type of conveyor we were using was very innovative. It was a belt driven kind of, I call it the magic carpet ride, where you ride on top of it instead of being pushed or pulled by rollers and stuff. But it just blew my mind that these guys that were icons in the industry would roll up their sleeves and work all night tirelessly for Ron and Judy Pickett. And that's the kind of people they were, that they were such good people that these people that were icons would come and help them.
Wow. Well, I think that speaks to the power of relationships. And I think going back to, this sounds like it may have molded some of your core values, just the high level of integrity. I think you revere and you respect people who present themselves in that capacity, and especially, and you couple that with, it sounds like to me they're probably pretty good at car wash business.
Oh, exceptional.
So when you put a good person with the good makeup, the good chemistry, the good foundations, and then you pair them with a skill, you pair them with a talent, a gift, you can't help but to grab. People want to gravitate towards you because of those things. So that's awesome. So last question. Okay. Hey, I'm here all night. I can be here all night. And I just think you're getting warmed up on me too. Yeah, right. And so you have to come back now. You have to come in hot. Okay.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
You have to come in. But if you could start over, if you can, and pick any point you would like. I'm sure you've had several moments in your life where you could be the start. If you could start over, what advice would you give yourself?
I'm going to start from the beginning. As soon as I was old enough to want for myself and do for myself, is the most important thing is don't think that you have to know everything before you get started. I mean, I like knowing stuff, and I like having it all in one ball of wax and stuff, but that's not important. What's important is to get started. The second part of that is, and something I just most recently realized, is that failure is part of the process. If you think you're not going to fail, you are sadly mistaken. All the greats have failed. The thing about them is they didn't quit. They may have pivoted to another industry or something like that the Lord basically wanted. Hey, I thought I was supposed to be here, but no, you're really supposed to be here. And that's when they struck gold. It's surprising. I saw a deal the other day where a gentleman was they were inside of an underground mine in somewhere around Arizona or somewhere out there, and that mine had been there for like 140 years. and the people were so close. You've heard these stories of people being so close to striking it. And because these guys picked up this mine 100 and something years later, they struck the biggest gold mine in the world. And that's because they didn't quit. They started something. So do not be afraid to fail. It's going to happen. Don't think you have to know everything before you start. I would say that the fear of failing has cost me more opportunities. So many opportunities. I've had so many people. I was blessed with people that were influential just saying, Rory, we want to help you. And me being too scared to say, yeah, let's go. You know, I look back on that. I was telling my son-in-law, and he's like, no way. And I'm like, yeah, happened multiple times. So don't be afraid to start, and don't be afraid to fail. It's going to happen.
No, I think that is incredible. Like, I mean, you're not the only person. We go to church together, and we Dr. Adolph said the exact same thing. Pastor Adolph said, you know, it's the failure is a part of it. You know, you learn the most. I think some of our best learnings, at least the learnings that we retain the most, is through failure.
Absolutely.
The retention. A teacher can tell me something, but until you fail at it, then you really and you experience the wounds, you experience the bruising, you experience the anguish, the loss, the you've worked at something and then it doesn't exactly work out the way you envision it to work out. I think that those moments, that's the apex of the intersection of learning for any individual. So, man, I've enjoyed this time. I can't wait till the next time. If I was to be honest, I think you got warm right in the middle. I think some of the apprehension, the anxiety, but no, I think you did a wonderful job today. I would love to have you back on the TPE, and let's discuss some other topics.
Absolutely.
I think I'm gonna say this to the people. Y'all, I don't say y'all didn't get cheated, but this man this man has stories and he has a lot more insight. I think we can all benefit from. And the next time he's here, I'm gonna kind of corner him to try to go into some more details about some of those opportunities that were lost on him. But any closing words for our people?
I want to thank those people for allowing me, the person that clicks on this video and allows me to talk to them or help them. If there's anything that I say that has influence on them, I want to thank them. Because a lot of times a video or something will come across my screen and I click on it and boom, knowledge it's rich. And so I just want to thank anyone that takes the opportunity to listen to this and they find some value. I just want to thank you for doing that.
Well, all right, TPE family, until next time, peace.
Thank you.